Hello and welcome to the second post of the Vibrant Couple. Today I want to talk about a highly controversial, though critical part of intimate relationships, the polarity between the masculine and the feminine. I want to make sure that this conversation we're having right now only applies to your intimate life. It does not apply at work, it does not apply with your friends. Only in your intimate relationships. I just came upon a very interesting footage explaining the origins of the polarity. I would love to watch it with you. Shall we? God invented man. Man got bored, so God invented woman. God realized that for his invention to last, they had to have offsprings. So he invented polarity to instigate offspring making. He then invented tango, then disco, and suddenly there was a lot more polarity between man and woman. He then invented pronouns and the Me Too movement. Both were really important steps in the creation of a better kingdom, but they left man and woman very confused. Somewhere along the way, he invented another way of looking at the masculine-feminine polarity. Some call it divine feminine and divine masculine. Critically, the polarity he was presenting was not related to gender or sexual orientation. The polarity can be understood as a river that had its bed and its flow. Neither can exist without the other. Let's take a look at the bed of the river first. It is basically made of rock. Some rocks are beautiful, some are artistic, some are shiny, some are very shiny. But in the end, it's just a lonely pile of rocks who need the feminine beauty and radiance and flow to feel alive. Coming back to our river, let's now take a look at its flow. Like the ocean towards which it is going, it is made of flow, and more flow, and more flow. Sometimes peaceful flow, sometimes wrathful flow. But in the end, it is just flow that needs the strength and direction and imperturbable containment of the riverbed in order to be able to flow. When asked which of his creations he was most proud of, God responded with deep emotion in his voice, the masculine-feminine polarity. Is it complete? Oh no, it is very much of a work in progress. I now need to find ways for men and women to get along and use it positively instead of hurting and controlling each other. I better get back to work. Thanks for watching a brief history of the masculine-feminine polarity with me. Polarity. Polarity is the relationship between two opposed and often contradictory poles that cannot get away from each other. In intimate relationships, it is characterized by the spark that happens between the masculine and the feminine. My work is specifically about that spark, how to create it, how to grow it, how to keep fueling it over the years. If that is what you're looking for as well, you are in the right place. Keep listening. If not, this is likely to create distrust, as polarity is often misunderstood and misinterpreted. In my view, it is underappreciated, underrated, and mostly underplayed. We do not play enough with each other. This video is a brief introduction of the polarity. In the future, I will create videos on essence versus shells. I will also talk about David Deda's stages of polarity evolution, and I will interview experts on how to grow both poles of the polarity. More spark. I will place links at the end of this video when I create them. Okay, let's dive into the polarity. Oops, just kidding. Okay, so this one is a little closer, but not quite. The polarity I want to present is the divine feminine and divine masculine polarity. If you have a different gender definition or sexual orientation, please keep watching because what I'm about to present applies to you as well. Divine feminine and divine masculine. What does that mean exactly? I sense that some of you are very intrigued. Some of you may be open, some of you are quite circumspect. Before we dive into the polarity, I want to take a look at toxic masculinity. Patriarchy has spelled a very bad shadow on the feminine and on women, and I believe that many conversations about toxic masculinity have a really good intent. However, I often wonder if these conversations make it difficult for good men who have a masculine essence to grow that essence to become better lovers and husbands and partners and overall contributors in a healthy and happy society. On one axis, I am displaying the divine feminine to divine masculine polarity. On a second axis, I want to place the continuum between disempowering to empowering. Toxic masculinity would be on the bottom right of our chart with a -4 or -5 on the Likert scale on the continuum between disempowering and empowering. On the bottom left of our chart would then be toxic femininity. The purpose of this chart this morning is not at all to create a fight or try to solve a fight. It is just to highlight that it is people that are toxic, not masculine or feminine. We all have masculine and feminine. Like the river, we all have the bed, where we're going, what boundaries we have, what goals we have. And we have feminine, which is our flow, our intuition, our emotions. Yes, even the toughest men do have feelings. They may not show them, but they do have them. Some of you may be very clear on your essence. I believe that one of the keys to individual and couple happiness is to know where one is on the continuum, to know where one's partner is on the continuum, and to playfully adapt to the polarity that is showing up in the moment. For the ones of you who would be interested, I would love to geek out a little bit on the polarity. It is very much like yin and yang, or form and consciousness. We can also see it as flow and direction, as well as responsive nature and skillful action. If we geek out even more, we can talk about fullness and emptiness. Coming back more to reality, we can also see beauty and strength. I would love to hone in on one of these aspects of the polarity between the flow and the go, or the flow and the direction. Remember the bed of the river earlier? The bed gives the direction, and the flow basically follows the direction given by the bed of the river. So let's apply that to driving. Let's pretend in a couple that the man is driving and the woman is the passenger. I'm pretty sure that as a passenger, you have learned by now that if you question your man's sense of direction, however subtle or overt you challenge him, pretty dire fight is going to ensue. So how does one find one's essence? First, it's a continuum between the feminine and the masculine. According to one of my teachers, David Data, about 80% of men have a masculine essence, about 10% have a balance, masculine and feminine, and about 10% have a feminine essence. And then the same thing for women, about 80% have a feminine essence, about 10% have a balanced essence, and 10% have a more masculine essence. We have a gender that was given to us by birth. Some of it are questioning it, some of us are not. We are happy with our gender. Some of it is our internal preference. For example, do you prefer to be the one pursuing, or do you prefer to be the one pursued? If you like to be the pursuer, it is likely that you have a stronger masculine essence. If you like to be pursued, it's likely that you have a more feminine essence. And by the way, that pursuer/pursued dynamic is not, in my view, just when you want to get a new partner. I believe it is critical over the years of a partnership to pursue and being pursued. I would love to close with a subtle but important distinction. All of us have a masculine and a feminine. Hopefully, all of us enjoy being in our masculine and enjoy being our feminine. I invite you to have no judgment about what your essence is, and I also invite you to somehow be multi-layered. So my personal mix is about 60% masculine, 40% feminine. I have a strong feminine. I'm very in touch with my feelings. I have a very strong intuition. I really enjoy being the flow. That's my feminine, and my masculine is the direction, is the containment, is the support. I highly enjoy being in my feminine. Although I enjoy it, there is something special for me to be in my masculine that is priceless. So in some ways, I do not have a judgment of one versus the other. I have access to both. But in terms of being rewarding, the masculine is way stronger than my inner feminine. And that's why I'm qualifying that my essence is masculine. If I look at deeper layers inside of me, one layer is my heart. I definitely have a feminine heart. I'm usually more concerned about who I'm with. And you know, as a relationship coach, I spend all day talking about relationships, and I thoroughly love it. I also want to be cognizant of the gender fluidity that our younger generations seem to be promoting, and I believe can be a really powerful way of eradicating the pains of patriarchy that have plagued us for so many generations. If this video inspired you to bring more polarity to your love life, I invite you to share that video with as many friends as you can that you think would benefit. I also invite you to like that video, you know, that button below here, and subscribe so you can be notified when I publish new juicy content. I look forward to seeing you very soon.